What's up? In today's episode, I'm going to be speaking about why your team might not be growing. What's up, everybody? This is Silas from silasbeats.com, and in today's music business session, I want to talk about why your team might not be growing. So, some of us have teams, right? When we break out and we start making music, we have teams, whereas some of us are forced to work for quite long periods, sometimes even years, alone in our own, little studios, trying to sort music out and get things going. It's just the luck of the draw, and you kind of just have to work around that. So I've got a couple of points here that I just want to share with you. Over here, I've just got them written in front of me. There's 5 of them. I just want to break down why I see people sort of stagnate on the thought of, I need to get a bigger team. I think I hear that quite a bit, but I think sometimes people might not know necessarily why their team isn't growing. So one of the biggest things that I see, the first point is your expectations of the person that you want to bring into your team versus their expectations of what they want to do when they actually become a part of the team are different. I've been a part of various teams throughout my 15-year music career, and many times I've gotten into something. I'm like, yeah, I want to be a part of this. I'm there for a couple of weeks and I'm like, I actually don't like it here anymore, and then I want to bounce, and then I either I leave or I just silently just ghost them, or I'm just not as active as I am. They obviously get upset with me, and then they go I go along my merry way. They get upset with me, and then that's the end of that. So when the expectations don't align, then there's this period of harmony followed by almost like not betrayal, but just like, man, I didn't think that it was gonna be like this. So it's always important to, when you're sitting with anybody that you want to bring into your team or into your side, into, close to you, within your group, into your duo, your trio, whatever it is, have a conversation. I always say this, have a conversation to say, what are you doing? You as the person that wants to come here into this team that I'm creating here, what are your expectations? What do you think you're going to benefit from here? Have an honest conversation. And they might say to you, I'm just trying it out. Or I want money. Or I want to blow up. Or I want to use your contacts, right? I respect that when people come to me and they tell me that, as opposed to sugarcoating it and, saying, I really think it would be a great opportunity if we work together. Like, let's talk about what we expect to happen, because ultimately, if that thing doesn't happen, if I don't get my money from joining your team, if I don't become a star within 5 years like I thought I was going to by being in your team, then we can part ways and just say, look, it didn't work out. You just continue, you move on, and you just keep on moving. So yeah, it's important to have that conversation about expectations. The second thing is knowing that at some point there's going to need to be shared leadership. So when I get like duos or trios or little groups coming into the studio, there's usually a ringleader, and I only need 10 minutes, sometimes less, to figure out who the ringleader is. You might have the person who is the most skillful, the person who can do the most in the team, but there's always a leader, someone who speaks on behalf of the team, someone who feels as though the team sort of is their responsibility. They wear the captain's armband, basically. Whenever there's a discussion that needs to be had, they huddle everyone together. Whenever they're organizing the studio time and they're speaking to me, it's that leader, right? So it's cool. Whoever your spokesperson is fine by me. I don't care who it is. But understand that when it comes to overseeing things, there needs to be good leadership and there needs to be good delegation. To say that if there's money that's going to be dealt with, there might be someone in the group who's really good with numbers, let them deal with it. But that person still needs to be able to delegate other smaller tasks to the rest of the team and be able to report to the rest of the team, right? Isn't it we're trying to build a team here, right? So these things need to happen. I've seen many situations where people think other people are lying about the money. That time there's no money to even begin with, because I was also involved in the process. I'm like, guys, we haven't made any money yet. And because of the lack of transparency, or someone saying, I am the leader, or I am the person who's going to be responsible for this, you keep out of it, it brings people's guards up. And in a cutthroat industry like the music industry, you want to make sure that everybody understands everything that's happening every time. If I was in a group, like a trio, and all we did was rap, I would make sure that if I'm the money person, if I'm the person who's organizing the bookings, I am bringing that invoice, I am bringing that quote, I'm bringing whatever it is to the team. I am asking to CC everybody in the team so that everybody knows exactly what's going on. That way, should anything happen, no one can ask any questions. I'll say it's literally there in the documentation. That's exactly how we set the split to be, and that's how it's going to be because that's what we agreed to, and just keep it moving. So, yeah, it's quite important to share that leadership out. The third point, why your team might not be growing, is proof of concept. This is a conversation. Sometimes can be embarrassing. It sometimes can be harsh. It's a harsh reality. You might just not have done enough yet. I've had people contacting me saying, yo man, I want you to be a part of this movement that I'm trying to build. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't mind giving people a little bit of time. If they've decided they're going to phone me and they want to chat for 5-10 minutes, I don't mind. I'll say, okay, cool, what's up? Then they'll say, you know what, I'm building this team. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're about. We're doing this. I'm like, oh, this all sounds great. Cool. All right. Then they'll say, do you want to join? And I'm like, huh? They'll say, yeah, no, I think that you would fit in really, really well here. And then they'll give me a very specific role and say that, yeah, no, you, Silas, you'll be able to handle this, and this for the team. And, you know, you'll work together in the team. And this is, in my mind, I'm just thinking, man, I've got so much stuff going on. I don't have the capacity to drop everything I'm doing to go and join whatever it is that they're doing on their side. So what I do is then I start asking some qualifying questions. Okay, cool. So what have you done so far? And they'll say, no, it's just a plan. It's just a plan that I've got. And I'm going, oh, okay. Then I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. It's a concept. I can't get angry at someone for a concept, but at the same time, I can say, look, we're not going to move forward on a concept. I need to see some kind of proof of concept. Have you gone out and tried one or two things, right? Have you tried to do this and this and that with regards to your plan, your very elaborate plan? Because for those people who they have it as a concept in their head, I'm going to be real, I don't believe them. Because they haven't gone through the hardships of being told no, being told this doesn't work, having to change their mind 7 times, having to create the logo, having to create the website, having to create the Instagram. A couple of weeks ago, someone contacted me and they did the same thing again, and they wanted me to be a part of a team that I wanted nothing to be a part of, right? And it's not because of what they were doing. I think their movement was cool. I just feel like they hadn't done anything yet they had all been musicians for over a decade. And I'm like, it's been 10 years. You guys have tried to put together a website. You've tried to put together an Instagram. You've tried to put together a show or two. You've tried to put together music. You're not so sure about your mixing and mastering. You know, there's a lot of things, and there's like 6 or 7 of you, and you guys have just been milling around back and forth. How does bringing me in help your cause? Because in my then what like sparks in my head is, oh snap, they're bringing me in so that I can round everybody up and make it happen. You know, they've got the skills, they've got the talent, they just need someone to bring them together and make it happen. I am not interested in doing that, and I don't think many people are. If I hear anything along those lines, I run for the hills, and I'm sure other people would as well. So that, in contrast to what happened, like as an example, when I built this studio, I got a lot of inquiries for people who wanted to get work done, and that's cool, right? But there were a lot of people who were asking for employment, a lot of people who were like, yo man, can I just join your team? I just want to sit at the back of the studio and just watch you guys work. And I'm like, where did all these people come from? But I realized that they were there because of proof of concept. I had built my music studio from what I had previously. I think this is the 3rd or 4th build that I've done. Informal builds. All the other ones are also bedroom studios or just, backroom studios. But this is the actual first build of a studio. So people came through to me like, yo man, and that proof of concept was enough for them, that I was able to get to this point. Obviously there were other people that were like, it's just a studio. For them, it wasn't proof of concept enough. For them, the proof of concept might have been me getting a feature with that artist there. Then they'd be like, oh, so he actually does do good music, proof of concept. Then they come my way. So this building here is also proof of concept. If you have an idea that you're thinking of, you might actually need to go out and implement it. If not at the scale you want it, implement it at a smaller scale so that you can take those results. And you have to get as much data as you can from there. Take surveys, ask people about how they feel. Get as much data as you can so that when you present it to the potential team that you want to at the end of the day, that they are actually they're on board and they don't just look at you and think, there's no way this is gonna work. This guy's never tried this thing before, and then they discard you completely. So proof of concept, very, very important. Now, the next point is aiming for the correct level, right? In terms of your capabilities, in terms of your leverage. I can't DM Drake and expect a reply. Right? It's the thought of it even. I'm just like, I'm sure the DM would get to the guy, but I'm sure that guy gets DMs all over the place. I have zero leverage. I've done nothing that makes me think that someone of that caliber, someone of that stature would be like, yo man, how's it going? It's not gonna happen, right? So I understand where I am and I understand where they are. I'm going to scale it down a whole lot and say there might be an artist who is sort of sorting themselves out. They've just moved to Joburg. They've got a great project ready and everything. And then they'll maybe contact a Questa and they'll send a DM to Questa and say, yo man, I've got this new product. I'm just in Joburg now, maybe we should chill together and just maybe we can discuss music. He's probably not going to answer you. He probably gets DMs like that every day. I'm sure he gets DMs like that every day. What makes you different? What about this interaction is going to be fresh for him? And it can't just be like, yo, it is this new guy from... It does, I promise you, I've sat in rooms. It doesn't work that way. People are busy. People have things to do. Don't disturb them. Don't be a nuisance because you will be spoken about. And then they'll just be like, oh man, yeah, I know that guy, man. He's DMing all of us. Just, leave him. So understand that your pitch needs leverage. And there's lots of ways you can leverage. You don't have to be famous to contact someone famous. You can have a lot of money. If I was to put together enough money, I would be able to, have a feature with pretty much anybody I feel in this country. Just because, my music is great, but I know that money leverage would just throw me over the edge. And they'll be like, yo man, no doubt, let's work. And I'll get my feature easy. But yeah, I think maybe not money as leverage. You can use anything you want. I mean, you can use a connection that you might have. Maybe you're an athlete. Maybe you do something else. Maybe you're a model. Maybe you do something, and maybe you bring a skill to the table that they might not have, and you can present it in a very, very professional way, in a very attractive way that would actually spark the interest. Like, oh, so you do that and you do this and you do that, right? And I'm not literally just saying you can dance and you can sing and you can rap. I mean, you are, you're in logistics and you are able to do this thing for them. You can sort out tour transport for them and this thing and that. People are more likely to listen to you. So just be careful when you're having these conversations that your expectation isn't set to a place that you're just DMing someone who's most definitely not going to reply to you, because you'll be wasting a lot of time doing that. So last point is sometimes you get someone in your team, and I've been through this on a few occasions, especially in the last few years. I've experienced this. Sometimes someone comes into your team and their time with you just come to an end. You've grown together. Your goals might have aligned. You might have had expectations. You might have shared leadership roles. You might have done all of these things that I'm saying. But at some point, you just grow apart. And that happens. This is life. You're not going to have the same friends you had in high school, as you had in varsity, as you had in the working world, as you had in your middle age to old age. You will chop and change, and that's okay. Sometimes you might just need to say, okay, cool, how are we going to dissolve this relationship? If it's a professional one, how are we going to split whatever we might have? If we've built a studio together over the past 10 years, what happens to the studio, right? Obviously, well, I hope you would have done some sort of legal work before that, so that if you got to that point, it would be a very, very clean break. But that rarely happens in my experience. So being able to say that we are no longer working together, we no longer associate and still remain professional is key, because you don't know when you might need them again. You might find in a year they're like, yo man, can I come through again? Can we work? Or you might need something from them. You might need a professional favor. Or they might have left your situation to get into an even higher position. And now you have leverage, which is one of the points I spoke to, where you can just hit them up and be like, yo man, congrats on whatever job or whatever it is you got, and you guys catch up, you meet up, you have a chat, and then you sort of then do your pitch to them. You now have leverage to get into that office or get into that environment that you might have wanted to have gotten into previously, but you never had your in. Now you have an in. This is a whole thing about networking, building relationships, not burning bridges, not being a nuisance. Very, very simple things that I think a lot of people overlook. If you're able to do this, or all of these points, your team might not get massive, but your team will at least be filled with people who understand why they're there. They understand what the motive is, what the goal is, and they'll probably even be more transparent with you. Because you then start moving together where you need to in the correct direction at the correct speed that everybody is comfortable with. And if one day, for some reason, you decide that you guys are going to part ways, then you part ways, and you part ways amicably, knowing that you can contact one another and have the conversation of whether or not you're going to work again in the future. So yeah, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, please let me know. Drop them in the comment section. And yeah, we'll chat in the next one. Peace.